Alright, this is a video that will show you how to construct or stitch a inseam pocket, so like on a pair of pants, your pockets that are vertical along the side seam. And we're just going to be doing one side seam and attaching one pocket. So this is either going to be a right or left pocket, just depending upon how you line things up. So the first thing that we want to do is I have my pattern piece here. And make sure that you have two sets of fabric, both for your garment or your skirt piece, if we're going to imagine that this is a skirt. We want to make sure that our raw edges are lined up. So in case, like, I don't know, mine kind of got shifted and moving things around, I want to go ahead and just line those up. And if you look at your pattern real quick, you're going to have, this is going to indicate this pocket opening. Okay? And what we want to do is we just want to make sure that we notch at the top and bottom of that marking, because I didn't see any notches there. So what you're going to want to do is probably just indicate some notches before you go ahead and get started with sewing, so that you don't have to come back and identify that stuff later. So just make sure that it's lined up square. Your notches are lined up square with where this the pocket opening lining matches up. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is, and you're going to want to do the same, you're going to want to make sure that you, if you didn't notch this out already, which my notches were there, I just didn't do it, just didn't line them up. I want to make sure that your raw edges of that kind of side seam area are lined up. Then place your, oh man, mine keeps shifting on me. Then you want to just lay your pattern over the top and make sure that you notch at those markings. Alright, and you should have two of these, and they should be kind of facing opposite of each other. So if you were to open this up, you should either have your right sides or the wrong sides together when you cut this out. Okay, so I'm just going to set, what I'm going to do is I want to grab one piece of my skirt, and I'm going to grab the side that, so when I face it with right side up, that my notches are along the left hand side here. And then I want to do the same for my pocket, except for I want to grab the pocket side that when I face the right sides down, because I want to place right sides together, that my notches are still on the left hand side. So what I'm going to want to do is I want to go ahead and match up those notches where I had snipped into the side seam. And I want to go ahead and put a pin in them. Let me go ahead and try to organize my space just a little bit better. I don't know if that's going to happen, just organizing things overall. Okay, so let me go ahead and I'm just going to flip this around so I can use my right hand to go ahead and put these pins in perpendicular to the opening here. Alright, again, just making sure that you have your raw edges matched up and those notches matched up along your side seam and your skirt. Okay, now I want to point out that we have this kind of extension here, and then we really start the pocket area. So just be aware of this is our pocket length that doesn't extend any farther, but just right to where we kind of hit this shelf and then curve around. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is we want to stitch a seam at 5/8 of an inch. Just connecting this pocket and the side seam of the skirt. So I want to line up the raw edges over here with my 5/8 inch guidelines, and I'm going to go ahead and do a back stitch at the top of this line and a back stitch at the bottom. When I hit those pins, I'm going to go ahead and stop and pull them out and just continue stitching up this line. And I just hit the top of my pocket, so I'm going to go ahead and do a little back stitching and then just raise up my needle and presser foot and trim all these threads up. And I'm going to go back and trim these up too. I'm going to get this ruler out of the way. It keeps on hitting me in the arm. Alright, that back thread's doing okay. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to grade the front pocket seam allowance only. Alright, so we want to go ahead and just, you know how trimming is, you trim at the same level, and grade means that you have uneven edges. So we want to go ahead and grade the front pocket. That's what this is our front pocket. We want to go ahead and grade this along the edge here. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut this down to about half the width of the seam allowance that I have. Okay, then I'm just going to toss that aside. Now what I need to do is I need to do an edge finish on each of these edges here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and set my my zigzag stitch in, and I have a piece of scrap fabric over here that I just like to keep handy. Well, we have lots of scrap fabric in the sewing lab, so just go ahead and grab a piece of scrap fabric, and I just want to test to see what the zigzag is going to look like. And then if I need to, I can go ahead and shorten up my stitch length if I want it a little bit closer, or maybe if I don't want it so wide, I can go ahead and just narrow that up until I can really see what my stitch width is going to be like. So I'm going to go ahead and see what that is, and I think that a little bit narrower is pretty good. Okay. Yeah, I think I like it a little bit more narrow than wide. I think I need to press that out, or maybe my tension's just a little tight. Might be it, but maybe I can loosen that up a little bit. I better do another test just to see how the tension is. Maybe that didn't do it. We'll see. We'll see how this looks. But I want to test it to make sure that it's not going to pull funny here. Yeah, it looks a little bit better. Ooh, not on the back side though. Let's go ahead and adjust that back. Yeah, see how it kind of pulls a little bit different. I'll go ahead and do one more just to test it. I'm going to go ahead and turn it a little bit more, see how that does. Okay. I was going to guess if I did it a little too much. A little tension goes a long way. Okay. Alright. That looks a little bit better than what it was when I first started. So I'm going to go ahead, and what I want to do is I want to just do an edge finish right here. I'm using my zigzag stitch, and I'm going to, it's whatever you want to do for this edge finish. If you want to run over to the serger, that's completely fine. Just make sure that you don't accidentally cut into your fabric. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, when you know the zigzag goes back and forth, and when it comes back towards the right, I'm going to have it enter or go into the fabric, or just to the right of the fabric, so it actually kind of creates a sort of serge finish. So if you want to jump over to the serger and do that, if you feel comfortable using the serger, feel free to. Otherwise, if you want to just do the zigzag, that's fine too. And you don't have to backstitch or anything. And what this is going to do is it's really going to just kind of roll it together. I'm going to make sure that I don't have any fabric catching underneath, which I don't, which is good. Alright. So you guys can kind of see what happens here. So it does kind of do this this kind of fold back finish with the zigzag. Maybe someday I'll get a serger. I would love one. Alright, then what we're going to do is we're going to do an edge finish to this side of your skirt opening as well. And I'm going to see if I can, I'm not going to do a wrap around, I'm going to do just a back and forth zigzag. So make sure that your seam allowance is pressed opposite for the time being. And what we want to do is we just need to finish this edge between where the pocket's going to be. So we don't need to do the whole thing, we just need to do right where that pocket is. So you can see you can see where your notches are, and so but you want to go where you've created that seam at. So you can use your stitches along the back side as a guide. And I'm just gonna I'm not gonna have the zigzag cover the edge this time. I'm just gonna have it go normal. I'm gonna go ahead and just give myself a little bit longer of a stitch length. Because I didn't think I needed it. I thought I needed it a little bit more close together, but then after doing that sample, I don't think I do. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep it a little bit wider. Oh, and I wanted to, I think in between those notches, it kind of wanted to suck it in. It's because it's fairly thin fabric. I think it's going to end up doing the kind of gathering it all up more than I wanted it to, but oh shoot. I'm going to have to stop the video because I caught mine on the other side, my seam allowance. I probably should have taken the time to press it open, but I'm going to go ahead and stop the video and take this out and try to fix it. I think that if you are in the lab when you do this, that it might be a better option to use a serger, or to even do like a stitch and pink. So maybe what I'll do is I'll just hold off on the zigzag for now, and I'll just do a stitch line, and then when I get back in school tomorrow, I'll use my pinking shears just to finish this edge. So I'm going to take this out and do a straight stitch, and then I'll come back and finish it.